Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And I'm Commander Cockings, and I've lost a third of my energy after this last episode.
Yeah, you've lost a third of your energy, eh? Well, 20% of my house has been invaded by dogs. I was occupied by dogs.
It's not even far off, is it? You got lots of pets. Yeah, we're talking Discovery. And after this last episode, what did we learn last episode, Stuart? The entire episode obviously being State of the Federation. What did we learn?
Well, this is the State of the Federation address, I guess we'll call this. This is good. So 9 months has passed since Discovery disappeared, because they did have that cloaking algorithm to defeat the Klingons. They were on their way to deliver that when they went to the Mirror Universe. 9 months later, they're still waiting at Starbase 46 going, shouldn't have left it with GPS or with UPS. No, I needed a tracking number.
To be fair, though, actually, you missed a point. They mentioned that the ISS Discovery, they did not know that was the ISS Discovery. They thought the Discovery got destroyed 9 months ago. So from their perspective,
that's true.
They lost the algorithm, and for some reason Lorca didn't transmit it, and then got himself blown up.
That's right, because they did say, yes, Admiral Cornwall said she saw the wreckage with her own eyes. The Discovery was destroyed. So Captain Killy wasn't very...
in a killing mindset. Maybe she was hungover from her partying.
Maybe she did take out 15 ships before she got destroyed, though. Like, we really don't know.
We said that. I mean, it seems... I mean, is it fair to say a cop-out? To just kill ISS Discovery?
Yeah, it was a throwaway line of dialogue, and it was really piss poor, in my opinion. Like, because we did the discussion talking about what would the ISS Discovery be doing.
A lot.
You would think, or they would lay low and go, what the hell's going on? How are we going to use this situation to our advantage? And then we just get one line of dialogue literally that says they were destroyed. I saw the wreckage with my own eyes.
Yeah. But at least they addressed it, as we said before, and many people have called this out, that the writers of Discovery are a little bit all over the place, so they might have just not even addressed it. But at least, no, it did swap, and it was destroyed, and moving on. But yeah, I mean, as I said before, they should have more advanced technology, because not only have they got the TOS tech way in the past, but also 100 years to advance that tech, and Vulcan tech earlier than the Federation got, and Klingon tech that conquered the Klingons. So this should be easily the most weaponarily advanced ship. And without all that
space, but it's still only one ship.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. But we saw what the Defiant did against every single ship it fought. It killed everyone without a single thought. So, it should have been... Like I said, it would have nice if they'd said... but you fought a Klingon fleet. Because you can imagine if they had more time to maybe even show it, visual effects, if it vroomf, and because Tukuvma died, they sent a Klingon fleet to attack them. Would have Great Cornwall said, but the Discovery was in a battle with a massive Klingon fleet and got destroyed, taking half of them with them. I saw the wreckage for myself.
Yeah, exactly.
This epic fight, which, yeah, it's just a bit weird. I know that Discovery had no spore drive, which means the design should be quite different. It has no need for the portions in the saucer, probably the longer cells, a lot of the stuff it just wouldn't have. Fill it with weapons, so a bit of a cop out, but at least addressed it.
Yeah. Regardless, 9 months of no cloaking algorithm. The Klingons have been using their cloak to, decimate planets, colonies, supply lines, hospital ships. She said they've followed this. One ship followed the USS Saratoga into Starbase cloaked, and then destroyed itself to destroy the Starbase. So they've been laying waste to the Federation for 9 months.
But not a full-scale assault.
No, because they're not unified. There's no Klingon Defense Force. They didn't come under Tukuvma's. Didn't unite the houses. There's as Sarek says, we're not fighting one enemy. We're fighting 24.
That's a good show, by the way. You should watch it.
Yeah. Oh, 24. I see what you did there. But basically the Klingons are fighting amongst themselves and kind of trying to get the upper hand on the other Klingon houses, and while at the same time carving up Federation space and assets and territories in the process, kind of like a look what I can do. I'm better than your house because I destroyed 2 star bases this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I sent 15 of my warriors to die in suicide bombs. Look at me, I'm honourable. We said this in the review. I mean, these Klingons are probably the worst Klingons we've seen in Trek.
and not just visually.
No, it's just the way they're being portrayed. I know it's a dark time between, but it's just awful and so antithetical to what Klingons are. Even if they weren't truly defined in TOS, they were still better. More interesting people. Being radical terrorist murderers is so one-dimensional. It's ridiculous. When you take out reason, you just become. Nazis aren't interesting villains. They're not.
But they're generic villains. You can throw Nazis into anything, and they're just bad guys you want to kill.
Yeah, so that's what these guys are. It should have been another race. I mean, imagine if this was another race who wanted purity.
Well, then you get the whole Zindi thing going on.
I got a vibe too.
Why are you introducing another race when you have all the other ones to work with?
Because we defeated them.
Wow.
I mean, the Zindi just never came up again because they never came up again. Like, they never went out their territory. And especially since we're attacking Kronos, the homeworld, there's been another race. Maybe Giorgio, who's in control of the Discovery now, she actually destroys the planet. But that is actually that is the Zindi plot, isn't it? Because they lost their planet. Yeah, some weird parallels with the Zindi, and the Zindi were done better. So yeah, better makeup too.
Yeah,
the Reptilians, gorgeous. I mean, that makeup's just. I mean, so much better than the Klingon makeup. It's crazy. Michael Westmore, true genius and true talent, that man. But it's weird. I mean, I was even with losing a unified leader. Every house has cloaks for the most part, and they all have the same ships. And they're all awful for the most part, and no one has Bird of Praise or D7s that look proper for the most part. And I guess there's no Chancellor, there's no High Council because that is unity. I'm guessing that's not formed yet.
But it was. Was it not when Archer was there?
Yeah, it was. But they said that they destabilized after that, so I'm guessing reasons, things. They've
shoddy storytelling, to be honest.
Well,
it doesn't. You can't shoehorn this in after Enterprise and before TOS and explain everything that's going on right now in Discovery without some kind of God stepping in to fix things between.
Well, that's the thing. You said this last time. Saru says at the end, I guess the Klingons have won the war. Well, no, they've taken out 1/3 of the fleet via 3 specific attacks, and that's not remotely won the war. I mean, they were already winning the war. Taking out that many ships is pretty bad, but it's not winning the war. But just the cloaking advantage, I would have assumed that as soon as, they were saying they were mopping the floor with the Starfleet forces. All you need to have to win any battle with any Federation ship is outnumber it, and attack it when it's alone randomly. That's all you need to win a battle. Just outnumber it with firepower. Because no strategy can win, even good piloting, if you've got, if you have 3 Vorchars against a galaxy and it's in the middle of the Gamma Quadrant. I mean, the Vorchars are going to win. Or 4 Vorchars. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult, and if each house has a few dozen ships, I mean, it should. Okay, yes, in fleets of Federation ships, but you can't defend an entire border in packs of 6. So I feel like they should be much more destroyed, but if they can't push that barrier, because if we don't reset the timeline, I don't think they are going to anymore, unfortunately. We've got to not only come back from this stronger than ever, and put the Klingons onto a Cold War footing where they are neutral against us, whereas they've been destroying us mercilessly for 9 months without any sign of like, they're not equal. So how do we completely, raise the bar? I guess with the Connies, I mean, they're obviously a big deal. The 12 Connies.
By implementing the plan that they're going to be using.
But that doesn't change the amount of ships Klingons have. It doesn't change the ships we have. Doesn't rebuild our forces. Doesn't upgrade our forces. Doesn't stop the cloaks from being effective against civilian targets. Sort of.
As you said in our review, on the one screen it looked like there was the circular nacelle, the cylindrical nacelle design. So they could be already looking to upgrade. Plus, 1/3 of the fleet destroyed. You need to rebuild that fleet. So if this plan works that they're implementing, where they go to Kronos and take out a lot of military targets. They could take out a lot of the houses. They could take out a lot of the ships. They could equal out that way and build a new fleet and recover. But then 10 years later, you think they'd still be pretty hurting. They wouldn't be in the strong position they are when Kirk is flying around being all cocky, and not talking about it.
And you certainly wouldn't think that what Kirk was in year 2 as 5-year mission at the start, or was it the first year of his 5-year mission? It was the first year.
The first year, yeah.
Yeah. So in 4 years from now, we're so healed and repaired that we send people on 5-year exploring missions.
Yes, with our 12 Constitution class ships.
Best ships at the time. And we're all that. I don't think anyone's exploring at this part of the timeline, with this war going on and the recovery. No. 5 years. They've put themselves into another corner. It should have been like 20 years before Kirk. That would have been better with. They couldn't use Sarek as well. But that would have been better. Actually, a lot better. 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or even 30 years. Or 25 years, a decade before Kirk. A generation before Kirk. That would have been cool. But that might have would have interfered with Kelvin stuff, because they were like, well, it should look like Kelvin, but it can't because of CBS licensing. But it shouldn't, because that's JJ canon, but it's also Prime canon, but also it's not designed to look like Prime canon, so it's not Prime canon. Although, obviously, stuff does look like JJ. So that would have been an issue as well. I just think the Klingons would have done more. And the cloak, cloak is such an advantage, Well,
I think if they were unified, they would have done a lot more. But because they're just playing their own games with the houses, they're not really a unified. Because I think they could have totally decimated the Federation fleet if they would have been unified during this time.
They were doing that beforehand.
Well,
if they lost like 5 ships in that day, it was ridiculous. 5 simultaneous hit and run attacks in one day. Like, if that just happens all the time. But even if they're not unified, like, if one house has 10 ships, 10 battle cruisers, that's a very powerful fleet. And they clearly take out Starbase. Starbase 1, which fought in the Romulan War and got destroyed, obviously rebuilt stronger for it. You know what I mean? Like, clearly this is a space station that can handle itself. 80,000 people to protect. Yet one house took it out. So clearly...
With 274 Klingons. That's how many were on board the Starbase when they got there.
Well,
it took out 80,000 people that were on it and 3 starships. I mean, we don't know how many ships were involved in that, and dump some of your crew over there. So 274 of them. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's fine for me. But so the Federation, they're in a bad way, but I guess they're more desperate. I think what they're really seeing is they're seeing the end of the road more than anything else. Like, they might not be at the end of the road, but they see the end of the road. Like, if you were the Admiral Cornwall, and even if you had the cloaking thing, what would the next step be? Like, without this radical plan, what would you say to do next? What could you do next?
You can just withdraw further into Federation space and regroup. It's kind of what the plan was. That the Andorian or Admiral said, we're rallying right now to protect Earth. Discovery should come join us there. And then that's where Sarek says Federation tactics haven't worked, obviously. It's up to this point, so we need to change it up. So I think that's what the next plan would have been. It's just to keep pushing back and bringing your forces together to make a strong...
They did say Klingon ships were on the way to Earth. I mean, they said that was their next stop.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you keep retreating, is that every planet becomes... Right,
a resource.
But also, if Vulcan is in that line... Oh, no, we're just sacrificing Vulcan now. We can't defend Vulcan. The Klingons can have Vulcan. We'll protect Earth. I mean, every planet... Oh, Teller. Yeah, we'll give them Teller. There's hundreds of planets and a lot of just colonies. I mean, every time you pull a line back, every single civilian you're sacrificing. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to get killed. And you can't do that at a certain point.
Yeah, and you are giving them resources, because now they have these planets, they have the industries on those planets, they have the resources of those planets to build their fleets, to strengthen their... So but that's how wars are fought, unfortunately. You do have to retreat at some point.
Sure.
Until you can rally enough strength and actually start moving forward. So,
but even with, one last battle at Earth, which is what they're implying... If every ship can cloak, and yes, there's a delay in cloak and not cloak between firing. I mean, hit and run, we saw that against the other ship, and it killed the other ship. Discovery spawned in at the last minute, but enough ships, enough maneuverableness, and we sort of know that the Federation don't use turrets exactly. Like, they use them in some of the games, but it's not a conventional thing. And yes, not because we have... Just because we haven't seen them doesn't mean they exist, but it doesn't really feel like a very turrety thing. You know? I assume it's like Earth space dock plus starships is the defense. You know, you don't have 10,000 torpedo turrets in orbit.
Yeah.
Small thing, but... I don't know. Pretty desperate, I think, the Federation. And we'll talk about the plan. That's a separate video.
Yes.
But,
and you can tell that they're desperate with the plan they went with, in my opinion.
I mean, for Sarek to convince them, that says something.
Yeah.
I wonder what Spock thinks about. Father, you got them to attack Kronos and kill 7 billion Klingons? Shit. Son, you don't swear. It was logical.
Yes. So, desperate times call for desperate measures. We'll talk about that in a future video where we talk about the plan that was instituted. We don't want to give too much away right now because not everybody's seen the episode yet. Yeah.
But because we always do like a roundup, do you think where the Federation is and where it was implied to be is where it would make sense to be after 9 months or however many months? And do you think the ISS should have been destroyed or not?
I don't think they would be as desperate as they are right now because they were still the Federation. They still had a fleet and a unified fleet against random houses. It almost doesn't make sense. As for the ISS Discovery, I mean, it's possible, depending on where it jumped in, could have been just bad luck. Jump into a fleet of Klingon ships on their way to whatever.
Well, yeah. If they jumped where Discovery jumped, it was on the border of Klingon space. So.
Yeah, but they were jumping to Starbase 46, which would have been a starbase there to protect them.
Yeah, but they swapped places because the thingy jumped to 20. So USS Discovery jumped to 24, which means the ISS would jump to where the other one was.
Okay. Good point. Good point.
Yeah. So it would be at the edge of space. And I don't think they were still in the Kuvma system where it got blown up. If they were,
they did say that there was a fleet of Klingon ships on their way that they would have to get past to get to Starbase 46 to use warp. So yeah, there was a fleet on the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If they were still there.
And they didn't have the spore drive, the ISS, so yeah, it would kind of make sense that they got destroyed. But I would assume that Captain Killy put up quite a fight.
Yeah.
So, in conclusion, yeah, I don't think that they would be as desperate as they are based on just 9 months of the Klingons having cloak. I don't know. I don't think it seems a little bit odd to me. So,
whereas I think the opposite. I think it should be even more damaged.
Really?
Yeah, but not the suicide attacks because that's just not honourable. I think even uncoordinated hit and run with our border forces, but nothing different. Like, that's how I'd have pitched it. Like, they're doing random attacks, random places, and they're destroying ships upon ships upon ships like they were before, but randomly at different times and not coordinated. It just would have lost the cohesion. But or really in a system, attack on Vulcan randomly and it was repelled because it didn't bring enough ships. Stuff like that. And do a bit more damage because cloak is a huge advantage. That's why whatever. Anyway, guys, that's our discussion. Tune in tomorrow for another discussion on another interesting Discovery episode. A lot to talk about here, lots of plans, because this is the setup. The next setup to the next plan to the last episode. Well, they have a lot to pay off, don't they? This next episode, a lot.
They do, and like I said, I'm probably going to be disappointed because my expectations are so high.
Damn good script, the last one. Damn well written. So yeah, if you want to support Trekyards and what we do, looking at Discovery and all the ships and tech of Trek, and Trekyards too, then support us on Patreon. A regular donation every month helps us a ton. A one-time donation at trekyards.com, give a little bit each and every month, one time, or every month, when we give via PayPal. Helps us and lets us make this show and more.
That's right. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, visit our Facebook page because there's a lot of great discussions on there all the time, and join the community because it's really a fun group of people we have with us. So until next time, guys, I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Connor Hungs.
See you guys later.